All right, so we got some new patch notes. Look at that. Love me some good old patch notes lately, as they tend to be filled with some pretty exciting stuff. All right, so we get the first trans survivor with some medic and healing oriented perks. Love that. Okay. All right, so killers getting some changes, survivors. Okay, interesting. Pentimento is being reworked. Okay, the quest system is coming, and haste and hindered. Oh no. Well, remember when I said I'd like a quick heal? I like a quick heal. I like seeing that bar go really fast. It really scratches that window XP file transfer as you kind of marvel how fast yet slow it is. You know, it's kind of fun to see. But, you know, this little paradigm of how fast or slow something is, though simple, can allow for some pretty interesting interactions in DBD. So imagine my surprise thinking we would just get the survivor and some bug fixes, and I see some proposed changes to haste and hindered status effects being essentially railroaded to only one effect at the time with the highest percentage, you know, with that associated effect. So, in other words, I can't go zoom as killer or survivor or have others crawl to like a grandma level stroll. So, I looked at this change and immediately thought, why? What was the point of adding something that was otherwise a non-issue? And I thought about it some more, and it does have some greater implications alongside it. So let me start before I go any further. I do play both killer and survivor, about 60-40 split, with, you know, thousands of hours invested in learning and having fun with both sides and interactions that this game offers. So take anything I say with a grain of salt, and would love to hear what you have to say below. That being said, I believe this change impacts killers more than survivors flat out. It bothers me as it not only reinforces a future where this game, where you might see even more meta perks and playstyles are played out ad nauseum, and there's just no silliness to be had, is all you see. I will say first and foremost, you know, play the game, play a game as you want, you know, within the confines of the established rules and, you know, tools given to you as the player. This includes things like perks, add-ons, various powers for killers. But if you clicked on a DVD video, you more than likely know that already. So awesome. So much like other people, I like what this game offers with interactions between players and the perks that they bring to the table. It's a focal point to this game for me. So when perks get released that give haste or hinder to said players, it can be quite substantial, as timing and game knowledge play a major factor into this for both sides and how a match plays and how well you do in the match.
Alright, there we go. And then...
Makes sense, you know. So, player choice being limited here concerns me. If I want to forego a typical gen defense or slowdown build for generators for a gimmicky meme build, say on Clown, for example, that allows me to reach crazy speed with a variety of perks, you know, with their own conditions to meet, and add-ons rewards the player with a build that has the potential to set off the balance in a chase or in certain loops for only a short period of time. So let me say that just kind of let me have my fun with the tools given to me. Let me have fun in the sandbox. It's not like these builds are meta defining builds or even really that good outside of certain circumstances. That's kind of the point. It's fun to kind of overcome the odds or have a gimmicky victory earned by combining all of these effects. It feels earned that you made it work. There are many builds that all lead you to winning. Some are more cold and efficient, like the typical gen slowdown and regression that you might expect killers to have nowadays, or a duo just having a silly totem build on mid-witch. They may or may not win, but it's their choice to do so. It's fine. If I know my overall objective as killer is to stop the survivors, then I can approach it however I want. Same with Survivor. My overall objective is to finish gens and escape. Why is a haste or hinder focus build any different from an endgame build or a slowdown build or a gen rush build? Right? There isn't. It all completes the same objective, and it is done legitimately within the confines of the game at varying degrees of success and really difficulty. That's what kind of pet peeves me here so much, is that I don't go into DBD every match expecting to win or needing to win. I sometimes just want to do a funny build for the sake of it. It really is that simple. It's player choice and how they want to interact with the game and fellow players. It's variety and keeps things interesting over long stretches of time playing this game for thousands of hours, like I said. So I went ahead and I went to go test it on the PTB myself. So here are my thoughts. Oh, and real quick, some people told me this is seen as an exploit. It's not really an exploit if a set of perks has chemistry with a focus of one particular area of the game. If I applied that same logic to other parts of this game, it falls apart really quickly. So Survivor's running all second chance perks, I could say that's an exploit. Killer running all gen and slowdown regression, exploit, right? Survivor running all healing perks and which like the new Survivor will have, oh, that's an exploit, and so on, right? Gen generators, gen perks, stacking all those, getting all the gens done really fast under the allotted time, much quicker than the allotted time of 90 seconds. I could say that's an exploit. Like, I can construe that. That's not fair. So there is a difference between a legit unfair advantage and gameplay mechanics that allow for play expression that in turn offer an advantage through a series of steps. You know, you've earned it, right? You've put materials or you've invested something into it. You know, like a specialization, almost. Anyway, so I went to the PTB. Here are my thoughts. So, thank goodness, thank goodness, Xeno or Myers for vault builds. Vault speed is not affected, or ability speed, such as like fire up and stacking like that, are just fine. That's good. Thank goodness. Had me worried there. But with haste no longer stacking, it is clear that this change does affect killers more than survivors. A killer having only 4 perks and survivors having 16 perks to work with, even if it was even a Swift knows this. A survivor has no problem running a single haste perk like Hope or MFT, but killers outside of, say, Noed, for example, are not going to be running the same things such as like batteries included to complement the build. No one's doing that, right? So my chat mentioned a few things that might perhaps, instead of nerfing haste and hinder across the board, that they instead change the perks themselves to reflect their actual strength within the game. So, for example, like MFT or Force Hesitation, that they can only work with themselves and they can't be stacked. But say batteries included and Shadow Step probably could, right? You know, that I can concede. That I can concede. But why would anyone run any other haste perk on killer if you knew it wasn't going to stack, right? So this especially leads me to my next point, that, you know, this especially hurts M1 killers and not so great killers that greatly appreciated the boost in speed when stacking some of these perks. So going back to Speed Clown, like I was talking about, if I wanted to do that, I simply couldn't. I would have no reason personally to play Clown. I might as well just go play Huntress again in queue, and you'll just see more meta or all or reading from me, right? We have a good chance of seeing stronger killers and builds on both sides by default, if you just take away a little bit of this player agency and experimentation and choice, you know, in the trade-offs that they're making for their build. So I'll end on this. Here, I'll end on this. I get the impression after playing the patch is akin to a soft form of railroading. Like the DM suddenly said, yeah, you can't go that fast, and it makes sense that to do so, and you definitely put in the effort to do so after leveling so much. But no, you don't get to go that fast, even though you've earned it. So sorry, no. that's not fun for the player, right? So I hope that behavior, and any devs I hope that sees this, understands that I simply am concerned at seemingly a small change could lead to headaches in multiple areas in this game. Make perk adjustments and, encourage that player choice. It's what makes DBD so special to me for a long time, as a longtime player. It's really the choice of expression and choice, I like that quite a lot. I hope they keep that. But that's all I have for you guys today. Please let me know what you guys thought. I kind of rambled. It was a bit of a rant after seeing this, but remember to have fun out there, and I'll see you next time. See ya.